What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Millzy, back with Hometown Commander. I was doing something in today, trying to edit my Jodah the Unifier deck, 5-color humans, that I brewed a few weeks ago on the channel. If you're interested, I'll put a link down below to me brewing that deck. It was a ton of fun. I had a really fun time building it and putting my ideas forth for it. But the one thing I've kind of noticed with the deck is I'm having a lot of trouble with mana consistency. In my normal list, playing with fetches and tri-lands and shock lands, and I've just been having a lot of trouble with finding consistent hands where my lands are always coming in untapped and producing good value. So what I wanted to do today was kind of do a thought experiment on camera. How do I make my 5-color mana base the most effective while using our fetch lands? Because we want to use the fetch lands. I think the fetch lands are one of the single most important lands in Commander, land types in Commander. They're really good and they do a lot of really good things for us. Each of them read that we can pay a life, sacrifice it, and go get a land of either one of the types. So for that reason, I really want to play all the triomes because I think the triomes give us the best chance of getting all of our colors quicker and having multiples of them. Each of them tap for one of each of the 3-color combinations. And so if we were to take those two sets as they are, we would be at 20 lands. I think Jodah, we're shooting at 34 to 35 lands. Even though we have some ramp, we really want to get them and get them quickly. Well, these are the 8 regular lands that I'm playing in this deck: Cavern of Souls, Command Tower, Mana Confluence, Path of Ancestry, Plaza of Heroes, since we're playing a big legendary deck, Reflecting Pool, World Tree, and Urza's Saga. But in this deck also, I was playing some shock lands, and I was playing a couple of the check lands. The check lands meaning when they come in tapped unless you control one of 2 different types. But I think the check lands and the tri lands pair really well together. And so what I'd like to do is try to create some sort of mana base where I'm playing with enough check lands to go with the tri lands and the fetch lands, and then maybe we can kind of play with our here. So if we look at that, the checks would be 10, the fetches would be 10, and the triomes would be 10, which would be 30. This would be 38, which would bring us above our numbers. But my Jodah list is very much centered in the Naya colors, red, white, and green. Those are where most of my humans are set in the colors of. Of course, I do have some outside of that, but I actually don't think I need to run every tri-land, and I don't think I need to run every fetch land. See, the kind of good and bad thing about the fetch lands is these 5-color lands don't have any typings, which means if I play 10 fetches and I play 10 triomes, if I'm playing no other ramp spells, sure, they're 1-to-1, but the problem is I'm playing Farseek, right? I'm playing Nature's Lore. I'm playing the ramp spells that can go get you typed lands. Well, the problem then is I'm going to eventually run out of fetch lands to fetch my tri-lands, right? And this is where most people play shock lands. Shock lands are lands that come in tapped unless you pay 2 life. Well, see, I like the shock lands. In fact, I think the shock lands are really effective. The problem with the shock lands is if I play 8 of them, let's say, 10 fetches, 8, 28, and then this brings me up to 35 or 36, right? But I don't want to pay all of this life. In fact, I'd rather run into the odd scenarios where these check lands come in tapped. But if I'm playing 10 fetches and I'm playing 10 triomes, and let's say I cut them even down to 9 apiece or 8 apiece to fit in these 5-color lands, I just wonder how much I'll be able to get better consistency. My other thought process was the new lands from Innistrad, Midnight Hunt, and Crimson Vow. These come in tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. Well, a lot of the times we're going to have 2 or more other lands. So could I play some sort of combination of checks and these slow lands together and make some sort of pile there? I think I have a good idea here. I'm not entirely sure what this looks like. So let's get the shocks out of here. I kind of want to try to build this mana base without the shocks. So we're at 49. So if if we were to make this be our mana base, we would need to cut 14 or so. So the question becomes, do we cut any of our 5-color lands? I really like stuff like Reflecting Pool, and because it kind of acts as any color, but we don't have to pay life for it like we do with Mana Confluence. So like maybe Mana Confluence is something we cut. You know, Cavern Souls can tap for anything. Command Tower can tap for anything. Path of Ancestry comes in tapped. We can tap for anything. So maybe Path of Ancestry might be too slow in our little example here. World Tree I like because it comes in tapped, but when we have 6 or more lands, our lands have tap, 1 mana of any color. And then Urza Saga is great because Urza Saga can go get us the Soul Rings, the Mana Crypts, things like that. And I guess the question would become, are we actually playing that in this list? And that would be something we can remedy later, which would bring us down to 46. Okay, so we do not need... I really don't think we need all of the slow lands and all of the check lands. So the first thing I'm going to cut is any of the check and slow lands that don't contain 1 or more of our colors. So for example, Shipwreck Marsh isn't in, if our deck's based in that Naya frame, in that red, white, green frame, I think we should first take out any lands that don't have 1 of our colors. And I think that that's just going to be the blue-black ones. So we have Drowned Catacomb and Shipwreck Marsh. Okay, so now at the moment, all of our colors are still represented. And so what I think is our best option here is, can we cut any tri-lands that, again, don't center heavy in our colors? So Indartha Triome is right. It's got white, green. Jetmir's Garden's perfect. Catcher Triome has red, green. Rafine's Tower has white, but it has black and blue. So this could be a contender. Rogran Triome has red and white, so it's fine. Svai Triome has red and white. Sparrow's Headquarters has green and white. Xander's Lounge, though, only has red, right? Whereas Rafine's Tower only has white. So my thought process is these might be the 2 to cut, since they don't provide me enough of my other colors. Here you go, green and red there, and then just green there. But I think I want to keep a critical mass of the Triomes. That brings us down to 42. Okay, we only have 8 Triomes, and the fetches can't get us anything else. So I think we can actually come down on the fetches just a little bit. And again, the good part about these fetches is it really doesn't matter because we're going to be able to get any of these Triomes with any of these fetches. So we can go get exactly what we need. Okay, we're down to 40. I still think we can cut a little bit more. So my thought process is we can probably cut another check and slow land or 2 to kind of get ourselves down to that 35 threshold. I really like the Triomes. In fact, I'd be willing to put a Triome back in if need be over one of these slow lands. But I think I want a good critical mass. Actually, thinking about it, if I'm going to play the Farseeks and things like that, I want all 10 of the Triomes for that. Okay, so let's cut another slow land. We want as much black as possible. We want the ones that get in black because, black's going to be our tutors, things like that. We want the blue because those are going to be our draw spells. I don't want to cut every single one of our like green, white or green, red lands because those are exactly in the colors that we're in. But like we have to decide what do I think is the most important, and green, red is the least common. White kind of seems to be more common in my list. Green seems to be more common in my list. So my thought is maybe let's try like Dreamroot Cascade and Hinterland Harbor. We're still keeping a lot of our white here. We're still keeping a lot of our green. We still got both of our red and our black sources here. Now we're down to 40. I still like all of our 5-color lands. I don't want to change any of those. So I think we make another cut, and I think we can make another cut because we're not worried. These fetches are going to come and get these Triomes, and we don't even mind drawing, and we're going to fetch some of the Triomes as well. So what I'm thinking here is Rootbound Crag and maybe Rockfall Vale. So again, we're keeping our pretty white and green centered options here. I was looking for it. There's Sun Petal Grove, and then there's Overland Grove Farmland. So white, 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 white. Yeah, I kind of like centering in white and green because those tend to be the two most common colors that we really need. Sulphur Falls looks fine. We want you know, our blacks and our blues because we really need them for those support colors. Same thing here. We need the blacks and the blues. All right, so that brings us to 38, which I don't think is terrible either. I guess you could argue we could go down a fetch land in my Jodah list. In my Jodah list, I'm pretty sure, let me see if I can pull this up quickly. In my Jodah list currently, I'm running Farseek, Nature's Lore, 3 visits, and that is it. I probably could be running more ramp if I was running basics, right? But the problem is I'm not running any basics. So those 3 are each going to go get a forest. I'm also realizing we could probably hit some more card draw. But you see, this is my mana base before. You know, a lot of fetch lands, a lot of that at 33. And I think even here, even if we can cut 1 or 2 more lands down, I kind of think we'll be in a better space as far as consistency goes. Now, I have no idea whether this is going to work or not. What I'm basically making this video to do is I'm going to challenge myself to try this. I'm going to challenge myself to get to get these 38 lands down to probably about 35. And then over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to test this and I'm going to report what I find. And the reason that I kind of want to do this is I also have a 5-color shrines list using Goshintai. And I think Goshintai would benefit from the same exact thing, that consistency of colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link in the description to my Jodah list. And I'm going to decide on these lands. I'm going to cut them down to that 35 threshold. And then I'm going to update my deck list. So you can go down the description. You can see what I ended up deciding on as far as the final 35 go. And I'm going to test it out. And what I'd like to do is come back in about a few weeks and let you know how I did. Let's just see what I find. And then maybe we can have some fun determining, you know, what we think is the most optimal. I hope you guys enjoyed a video idea like this. Like and subscribe if this is something you want to see more of, me talking through my ideas and trying them. And then if you have any ideas for deck builds you want to see me do in the future, that's a lot of what I do on the channel, and I love it. So shoot it down in the comments. Let me know what you want me to build, and I will catch you guys next time.